What's up and welcome back to Rumor Has It Official. Let's get straight into talking about Married at First Sight. This is season 8, episode 8, and the title of this episode is The Past and the Furious. So this week, the experts give the couples assignments on exploring each other's past, starting off with AJ and Stephanie. AJ and Stephanie talk about traumatic experiences that they faced, and Stephanie says that a traumatic experience for her was losing her job. AJ shares a terrible motorcycle accident that he was involved, and he also adds that experience is why he takes chances and why he decided to do Married at First Sight. Let's move on to Kristine and Keith. So Keith is very vague with Kristine about his past when it's time for them to do their assignment. He tells her a brief story about his father. To the camera crew, he says his father had drinking issues. Kristine, she shares that she was engaged to a man that made more money than she did and took care of all of the bills, but had these big expectations of her to cook, clean, plus have children right away. So as she's talking to the camera crew, she adds that the more she was talking to Keith, she realized that her relationship with her ex and with her now husband Keith are somewhat similar. Keith has the audacity to say that he didn't realize that after Kristine cooked that there would be so many dishes. He says that she can change some of her habits too. Kristine gets very emotional while talking to the camera crew and says that it doesn't feel like teamwork. Let's move on to Jasmine and Will. So Will shows Jasmine where he came from while taking a tour with Jasmine and his best friend. It becomes clear to Jasmine that they have totally different upbringings. So on to Kate and Luke. Kate and Luke go to the Bay where Luke was brought up, and Kate seems to think that they've had a breakthrough, some sort of breakthrough. Luke says that he's very committed and wants Kate to see that he's trying. Let's go back to Kristine and Keith. So Keith expects Kristine to cook 3 times a day, and so they go to talk with Dr. Jessica. Keith explains that he grew up in a household of all women, so he's never had to cook, never really had to do anything. Keith also explains something that he experienced as a child with his father. After that, it is clear that Keith has, in several instances as a child, been placed in the position to be a caregiver and take on certain responsibilities as a child, which brings clarity to why he is the way he is. In that moment, hearing his story, I had empathy for him, and I can understand, I can look at things differently. And a lot of things that I did say, I do feel bad about that because he has gone through some things as a child, and basically his family's way of making him feel loved and cared for was by cooking for him. In a marriage, you have to work together. I feel like he does need to kind of get used to doing things as a team, and he has to realize that he's now married, and so there has to be some type of compromise. I don't feel that he should complain when it comes to simply cleaning dishes. If you didn't cook, I don't feel like he should complain. I don't feel like that's too much to request of him, of wanting him to cook sometimes. Now, you might not be a great cook, and that's completely fine, but there's other ways that he can make it happen. Get takeout. He can get takeout, or he can offer to help her in the kitchen. Let's go back to Jasmine and Will. They both have dinner with Jasmine's aunt and uncle. Auntie Susie, that's Jasmine's aunt's name, Susie. She drops a gem on Jasmine and tells her to listen to her husband. Jasmine tells the camera crew that she feels betrayed by her aunt, and Will needs to listen to her. Once they're sitting at the table, she adds that he doesn't pay majority of the household bills in front of her aunt and uncle, which I feel was a no-no and made him somewhat kind of shut down and feel uncomfortable. You could tell in his body language. I feel like that's not something that she should have discussed or said in front of her aunt and uncle, because what Jasmine needs to realize is everybody's marriage works differently. Jasmine is looking for her marriage to reflect that of her parent, but she has to do what's going to work for her and Will because they're two different individuals. She makes a little bit more money than Will does, so it wouldn't make sense to say that he has to pay all of the bills. But they do need to come to some type of compromise to where they feel like each one of them are doing their part, and I think that she needs to loosen up on that a little bit. Jasmine's aunt adds that communication is so important, and Will says that he's soaking in all the advice from this couple that's been married for 50 plus years. And I think that that's great, because I wouldn't want to get relationship advice from somebody that has not been married for that long. Well, so 50 plus years, yeah, I sure would be taking notes so that it could be just as successful. Let's go back to AJ and Stephanie. So they sit down for dinner with Stephanie's parents, and Stephanie's father said that he's interested in getting to know AJ so he can feel more comfortable. One of the things that helped him feel a little comfortable, I guess, the father called to speak with Stephanie and AJ, and he could hear his daughter laughing a lot, and so that made him feel at peace about the whole situation. Let's go back to Kristine and Keith. So they go to a restaurant and they have plans to meet with Keith's father. As time goes on, Keith's dad is still not there. Keith calls his dad, no answer. And then he calls his grandmother and no one has heard from him. So Keith, you could tell, is very disappointed, but it's not his first letdown by his father. But I still don't think that, even though it's not his first letdown, that he still wasn't hoping that his father would come through this time. So Kristine comforts Keith and just offers her support, which is a really sweet moment. And I just think it is just really sweet how she's, wants to be there for him, because you could tell that he's experienced a lot as a child, maybe even the feeling of feeling abandoned. I feel saddened that he had to go through that as a child, because it really, what you experience as a child, it really does roll over into your adult life. Poor Keith. Let's go back to Kate and Luke. So Luke says he learned through this experiment that he's not a good communicator. He's not good at communication. Yeah, we know that. He also adds that he now sees why he was matched with Kate. Even though Kate fits right in with Keith's family, they still have a long way to go. And Kate is in denial. She's really fighting for her and Luke's marriage. She adds that if things continue to go well, she can see herself falling in love with Luke. Kate says that she feels her and Luke have been getting along. While on the back patio, Kate talks with Luke's mother. It's evident that Luke's mother is not expecting their marriage to work. She tells the camera crew that she feels that the whole Married at First Sight experiment is a mockery of marriage. And Kate, during their conversation, she just looks very sad. This girl looks so sad. It's like, how long do you just want to continue to go through this? Because life is just too short. And while I understand she wants to be married and she wants to show that she's committed to this process and to this marriage, but I just don't think that this is a good fit. I feel like Luke put on a facade for the experts, and he's very quote unquote charming. See, a person can only put on for so long, but the more you get to know them and you're around them and you watch and you're observant, their true colors will come out, So it's like, I feel bad for Kate, but at the same time, she is the one choosing to stay, because if she wanted out of this, I'm sure that the experts wouldn't have any problems with allowing her to go ahead and call it quits early. But she's continued to go through. Are they gonna end up staying together at the end and then get a divorce like all the other couples? Because that's what they do. They'll say, oh, we're choosing to stay married, and then a month after they'll be unfiled. Weeks after they'll be unfiled for divorce. So I want to hear your guys' thoughts. Let me know what you thought about Married at First Sight Season 8 Episode 8. Let me know what you thought about each one of these couples in the comment section down below. Give this video a big thumbs up. Share this video with a friend who also loves watching Married at First Sight. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell so you'll be notified on the next time I make an upload. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.